In 2021, Intuit paid $12 billion for an email company from Atlanta called Mailchimp. The two founders had spent 20 years turning down investors, so when the sale closed, they still owned 50% each. Outside of about $300 million set aside for employee bonuses, everything else was theirs to split. It cost them 20 years of telling investors no, and growing only as fast as customers paid them. Any founder who wanted to move faster had to sell investors a piece of the company. But that era just ended. The rules are different now. Founders raising in 2026 are seeing investors who ask for paying customers first. Teams of 2 or 3 raising rounds that used to take 50 people. And the new deals that put millions into a company without handing over control of it. Almost nobody explains those new deals, so most founders never hear about them, which is a problem because they're the deals that let your company grow without losing it. I'll come back to Mailchimp because their sale shows you what all these deals protect. When Intuit's money arrived, no investor was standing in line to take a cut before the founder. But be careful with this money. It speeds up whatever your company is already doing. If you're growing, you grow faster. If you're stuck, you're now stuck with payments on top. Your bank account shows you which one you are before you ever sign. So before you touch any of them, you need to know how each deal works. Every one of these deals is built for the same moment. The product is selling. Revenue comes in every month, but it's not coming in fast enough to pay for more growth. You know more salespeople or more marketing would work because the small version already works. You can't afford the big version yet. The old answer was a venture round. Sell 10 or 20% of the company, take on a board, and grow fast enough to raise again before the money runs out. For a lot of founders, that's still the right thing to do. But in the last couple of years, new deals showed up that skip all of that. The money comes in and goes to work, and you don't sell a piece of the company to get it. Investors call it non-dilutive capital. Dilution is what happens when a company creates new shares for an investor and everyone else's percentage shrinks. Most of these deals create no new shares at all, so there's no dilution, no board seat, and nobody you suddenly need permission from. Start with the deal that turns your future revenue into money you can spend today. It's called revenue-based financing, and the deal is simple. A lender gives you a lump sum today. You pay it back as a small slice of your monthly revenue, usually between 3 and 8%, and the payments keep going until the lender has gotten back between 1.3 and 2.5 times what they gave you. So if you take $500,000 at 1.5 times, you'll pay back $750,000, a few percent of each month's revenue at a time. Notice what's missing from that deal. There are no shares changing hands, no board seat, and no argument about your valuation. If you have a big month, you pay more and finish sooner. If you have a slow month, the payment shrinks with you. In the bank account, it looks clean. A lump sum arrives, then the repayment rides along with your normal customer money. This works best for one kind of company. Your customers pay you every month, you keep at least 60 cents of every dollar after servers and support, and you already know where the new money goes. Maybe you spent $5,000 on ads last month and got $10,000 back in new customers. Now you want to do that 10 times bigger. In that spot, the money is fuel on a fire that's already burning. You pour it into the ads, new customers outrun the payments, and a lot of founders pay it all off early to be done with it. The trouble starts when a founder signs the same deal to save a business that isn't working yet. Now the repayment eats into money they needed for everything else. Some stack 2 or 3 of these deals on top of each other until 15 to 20% of every dollar coming in is already spoken for. Growth stalls and the payments keep coming out anyways. You could see which ending was coming in the numbers before anyone signed. Now, revenue-based financing still has to be paid back in cash. The next 2 sources of money don't. The best money a startup can get doesn't come from a lender or an investor. It comes from your customers. They were always going to pay you, but they pay you sooner than later. Instead of billing a customer month by month, you close a 12 or 24-month contract and get paid up front. For companies selling to other businesses, 1 or 2 of those deals can drop several $100,000s into your bank account overnight. For bigger contracts, it's millions. Think about that money for a second. There's no repayment schedule and no investor holding new shares. The company has more months of cash. The catch is the customer paid for a year, and now you have to deliver it. The founders who pull this off already have customers who stay and renew. So when a big customer says yes, the founder asks for a whole contract up front instead of month by month. It goes wrong when the product can't retain customers for the year they paid for. A founder discounts too much to get the cash. The money arrives and gets spent. and then customers start quitting after 3 months. Now, the company owes refunds out of money that's already gone. The other money you never pay back comes from grants. Governments and foundations have opened more programs over the last few years, especially for companies working in AI, climate, and deep technology. The checks usually aren't huge, but they arrive with nothing owed beyond progress reports, and they don't touch your ownership at all. Grants work best when you stack a few of them on top of your own revenue and spend the money on features that bring in more paying customers. The trap is the paperwork. Some programs have enough rules and reporting that the team ends up working for the grant instead of building what sells. None of this works unless the company underneath it was set up properly from the start. Every deal in this video, the lender, the enterprise customer, the grant program, starts with somebody looking at your books. And the founders who move fast through that are the ones whose company was clean from day one. A company like Row, for example, built something exactly for that moment. Qualifying startups can apply for free Delaware incorporation right inside Row in a few minutes without ever leaving the application. It's attorney reviewed, and banking and cards are live as soon as you're set up, even before your EIN. So the company starts with clean books and one place to watch every number, instead of a cleanup job later. Links in the description if you want to check it out. Now, there's one more form of this money, and it's the one founders get most wrong because it involves a word that scares them. Venture debt is a loan built for startups, and 2025 was a record year for it. A company closes an equity round, and then, while numbers still look strong, takes on a loan on top of it. The typical size runs 20 to 35% of that round. Raise 10 million, and a lender might extend you to 2 to 3.5 million more. That loan buys 6 to 12 months of extra runway without selling another piece of the company. The strongest teams don't even take the money all at once. They draw it in pieces as they need it, and aim each piece at what's already working, like the sales hires you need to close a contract that's already on the table. There are 2 words to know before you sign one of these. The first is warrants. A warrant gives the lender a right to buy a small slice of the company later. It's the one place this kind of deal touches your ownership, and that slice has been shrinking because lenders are competing harder for good companies and offering lighter terms than they used to. The second is covenants. Covenants are rules attached to the loan, like a minimum cash balance or a revenue level you have to hold. Break them, and the lender gets rights your investors never had, up to demanding the whole loan back early, which is why timing decides everything with venture debt. Taken early, while the numbers are strong, it's cheap runway on friendly terms. The founders who wait until the money is running low get the opposite. Lenders can see the desperation in numbers. The covenants come in tight, and a fixed payment gets bolted onto spending that was already the problem. So every path so far shares one rule. This money rewards companies that are already working, but there's one more approach that's different from all of them because it's not about avoiding the sale of shares. It's about who you sell them to. Even founders who do raise equity have found a way to keep control of the company. Instead of one big investor leading the round, they raise the same amount from dozens of small checks. The industry calls it a party round. 30 angels and small funds each put in 25 or 50,000, usually on a safe, which is a simple agreement where the money converts into shares at the next big round. The founder gets the millions, but usually no single investor owns enough to demand a board seat, veto decisions, or steer the company. One startup thought this idea was so powerful that they built an entire product around it. In 2021, Jordy Hayes and Sarah Chase launched a company called Party Round. It let a founder set the terms, invite a crowd of investors privately, and handle every document, signature, and transfer automatically. And they proved it worked in the most direct way possible. They raised their own $7 million round on their own platform from a crowd that included an Andreessen Horowitz partner and Alexis Ohanian's fund. Inside the bank account, the difference was obvious. Instead of dozens of scattered transfers trickling in over weeks, the whole round arrived as one clean wire. The close came faster, the chasing disappeared, and the founder got back to work instead of playing collections agent. The company rebranded to Capital in 2022 and tried to expand into a full banking product for founders. It didn't stay independent. In 2023, Capital was acquired, and the team kept building inside the company that bought them. But the idea outlived the company. Other platforms now do what Party Round built first. The product was an experiment that worked. Turning into a durable business was the harder fight. One question decides whether any of this helps you, because each path has a version that builds a company and a version that buries one. The line between the two isn't which deal you pick, it's which direction your company was already going. All of this money accelerates what's already moving, but it cannot start the motion for you. So before taking any of it, look at your last 3 months. Are new deals showing up faster than they were? Are customers staying longer? Is the money you spend with a customer coming back sooner than it used to? If those numbers are already improving, this money is rocket fuel. The lump sum goes in, the spending goes where you planned, and bigger customer payments follow it back in. That cycle is visible in the bank account, and it tightens with every month. If those numbers are flat and you're hoping the money will fix the model, it won't. The new cash smooths over the same flat line for a while. The repayment keeps running, the prepaid customers come up for renewal, the covenants sit there waiting, and you end up facing the same problem 6 months later with fewer options. This money pays off when you spend it on proof, and gets expensive when you spend it on hope, and you already know which one you are. The answer has been sitting in your bank account for months. Go back to Mailchimp one more time. Ben and Dan didn't have any of these deals. Revenue-based financing for small software companies didn't exist yet. Startup lenders weren't competing to offer light terms, and nobody had built software that collects around in one wire. They had customer money and 20 years of patience, and they turned it into the largest bootstrapped sale in history. $12 billion with no investor in line for any of it. You don't need the 20 years anymore. Founders with working companies are raising millions with these deals and keep control of the companies they started. So if you're building toward a company that stays yours, qualifying startups can apply for a free Delaware incorporation right inside Row. Attorney reviewed with banking and cards live as soon as you're set up. Links in the description. And if you want the other side of this, what the equity path costs, the dilution, the terms hidden in every deal, and who controls the company once investor money is in, You Don't Understand Funding is the next one to watch. See you there.